Alright people, welcome back to the PWC channel for our Week 8 recap, and this is going to be the Week 8 recap combined with the Round 1 playoffs recap, because as always I'm late a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot for this one. So I'm going to cover both of these rounds in one go. And as always, I think by now you know it, I'm going to start with the Typhlosion League, where in our Week 8, I think this was probably the least tight playoff race. I don't think there was much going on at this point. Also, I kind of noticed that for some of these people, the motivation really dipped towards the end of the season, because I think that's my personal theory. We have lots of experienced coaches who aren't really used to losing a lot. So that really showed in the later stages of the season, where some of the coaches that took some losses really just lost motivation and didn't do their games anymore, which is a shame. But that also shows that why we made this league. So I had always had this thought that whenever you go into a season, you have these one or two guys that you focus on all season. You're anxious about the match. All right, this is going to be tight, and this is going to be the match to win, honestly. And my thought with this league was that you have a league where every single week is that match that you're normally worried about all season, and that's exactly what we had in Typhlosion League, and I'm really happy with how it went. It was super tough, but I'm glad we did it. And so congrats to those of you who stuck around till the end. And so Zayed and Galadia, as you can tell, did not do their Week 8 match, but we're gonna come to that later. Then the Infinite versus Tylenol match also didn't happen, because Tylenol, after winning like the first 3 matches, took 2 losses in a row, and then kind of dipped. So that's what I was talking about. So he's probably used to winning a whole lot more, but after taking a couple of losses, he did not show up again. But what actually did end up happening was the match between Mayo and Tark. So both these guys made playoffs. We're going to see that. But it was still an important match for placement and seeds. You don't really want to have one of the lower seeds, because then you're going to go up against beasts like Infinite. So Mayo came out on top in this one, 3-0. Quite convincing. Mayo definitely played a very, very good regular season. I'm glad we brought him over. He was a great addition to the league and showed exactly why he belongs here. Then we got the next match between Cadillacs and Prof. And so Cadillacs took over late in the season for Nico, which was already a lost cause in terms of playoffs. He was like 0-5 and minus a million. So because Nico really, if anything, I would say was the only person that didn't really belong in Typhlosion League, to be quite honest. But I mean, that's no shame to be a little bit out of your league in Typhlosion, I would say. And Cadillacs took over. Cadillacs, absolute legend, is a really, really strong coach, which I had to suffer from that, because Week 6. So he made 3 matches up in quite quick succession. And the Week 6 was the match where I initially had to play Nico, and I was looking forward to it, to be honest. I was quite sad to find out that he wasn't showing up anymore. And then, I really was in a dilemma. So do I get a strong replacement now? But obviously I wouldn't do something like that. So I reached out to Cadillacs. Gladly and sadly, he took the spot and proceeded to just wipe the floor with me in this 4-0. So that was kind of unfortunate for me, but glad to have Cadillacs around. His Week 8 against Prof did not go his way. So Prof, to be honest, played an amazing season. I did not expect that. I know I'm always joking, he's terrible and stuff. I know he's not really terrible, but I think this was the best season I've ever seen him play in a league as strong as this one. To go with I think it's 7-1 record, that's amazing, honestly. And that was impressive, honestly. I'm really impressed. So he made huge progress as a player, in my opinion. And he showed it by beating a strong player like Cadillacs on Week 8. Then we got the match between Drew and Moonlight. Both these guys are another case of oops, did not show up anymore. Well, it happens. Then we got Girahim versus Ronan Sting, 2-0 for Girahim. So Girahim is also played an amazing season. He didn't have the best start out of the bunch, but yeah, like he was the strongest force in the later stages of the season. And I think, starting into playoffs, I think he's second seed or third seed, I don't know, but he's gonna be at least one of the favorites to win it, in my opinion, at least with the momentum he has right now. And yeah, he showed it with a 2-0 victory over Ronan Sting. It's quite close, but I mean, beating Ronan Sting is always tough. So yeah, that was another nice win for Ronan Sting. And I must say, his differential is crazy. We're going to go over that in the standings, but he had so many big wins this season. And yeah, just went great for him. And I'm happy. This, by the way, as I always mention, is our Season 6 champion, Girahim is. And yeah, can't wait to find out if he can do the repeat here. Then for Ronan Sting had a solid season. And yeah, it's just Ronan Sting, right? He's really good, but in leagues like this, he's just one of the guys, to be honest. Like, he can win every match, he can lose every match. You never know quite what you're going to get. He's always, it's never going to be easy. But yeah, I think his record is somewhere around even. But he played a good season, definitely, and he made playoffs, I think. So yeah, that's good for him. Then we got the last match, which is myself against my old buddy Caracasa. And yeah, whoa, that was really close. Let me tell you, Caracasa also didn't have a good season, to be honest. He came off a layoff, and that showed a little bit. So he struggled in the early stages of the season, but he got some wins towards the end of it, so he was getting back into it. And yeah, in the match against me, he also played really strong, and he probably was quite motivated to beat me, if I had to guess. And yeah, it was a close match. Roserade and Baxcalibur came in really clutch for me in that one. And yeah, Caracasa did well. All right, and this gives us the following end of season's standings. So the regular season winner, well-deservedly, is Infinite. So Infinite absolutely dominant. His only loss was in a very narrow defeat to Prof. I think it was a 1-0, and that shows in his differential, which is huge. Yeah, just nothing more to say. What an amazing newcomer to the league. And yeah, he definitely showed that he does belong in Typhlosion League and then some. And then we got the second seed Prof. As I said, amazing. I'm so impressed. Best season I've ever seen him play, and I've been in leagues with him ever since 2020. So I've been, yeah, for more than 3 years now. We've played together, and we've played countless times. And yeah, he's made huge leaps in terms of skill and patience and all these things that go into being a successful draft league player. And yeah, he's finally coming into his own, and I can't wait to see if he can continue his run in playoffs. Then we got Girahim, as I said, amazing season as well. Got 2 losses. The first one was against me, and the second one was against Tark. And yeah, but apart from that, he was so dominant. Like, his wins have been huge, and that shows in his differential. He's equaling the differential of Prof with 1 less win. So yeah, that speaks volumes. Then on the 4th spot, we got Mayo. As I said, amazing season as well from him. Yeah, just yeah, one of the better guys in the league. He elevates his game. I always knew that he's not always trying super hard, because yeah, he's trying out fun sets and stuff like that. He's very creative with it, but I always knew that in terms of play and in terms of understanding, he's right up there, and he can elevate his game if he needs to with the competition. And that showed this season. And yeah, so great season. Then the next one is me. Yeah, I started off very good, I would say. Then had a huge mid-season slump where I lost 3 matches in a row, and those were really bad losses. Like, obviously, top of the list would be the one against Infinite, where I got 6-0 with no chance, and the one against Mayo, which was going well the game until I completely blundered it. But that's honestly, that's part of it. So yeah, no excuse or anything, but it's just a matter of fact. Then the last one was against Cadillacs, where I had 0 chance, to be honest. He just out-prepped me, and yeah, I had no chance. I think I was a 4-0. And that shows in the differential. So many of my wins were quite narrow against Zayed, against Caracasa, against Galaria. Those were all narrow wins. Also against Drew, by the way. So yeah, pretty much all of them. And yeah, that shows in the differential. So I got slapped around a bunch. And that's why I got a negative differential. Then we got Ronet's thing. Yeah, as I said, quite even. Not only quite even, it's absolutely perfectly even. 4-4 plus minus 0. Yeah, definitely a good season, solid. Then we got Tark, who had a rough start to the season, but he definitely came back into it. He made some trades along the way. He had a really terrible team in the beginning, in my opinion, and made some trades, so that made it better. And he understood his team better and better and better, and he had some great results toward the end. So I think he beat. Don't quote me, but I think we might have beat both Prof and he definitely beat Girahim. So yeah, those were some impressive wins, and it just goes to show that he's a player that you always have to have on your radar for the playoffs and finals spots. And I want to say that I was particularly impressed by his use of Dadanspars. So I didn't see Dadanspars at all as a signature, especially not on the type of weird hyper offense team that he drafted. I didn't understand it at all, what the plan was with this, but yeah, he just did amazing with it. So creative, was so fun to watch. Tark, definitely one of my favorite players. Then we got Tylenol on the 8th spot, even though he just disappeared after his 3 wins. So these 3 wins that you see here, he got those after week 3, and then he just lost 2 in a row and didn't show up anymore. Despite that, he got 2 forfeit losses then, and he still has a positive differential. Would have still been enough to make playoffs, but obviously I'm not going to give a playoff spot to someone who just doesn't show up anymore. So that was the reason why our number 9, Zayed, moved up for the last playoff spot. So Zayed also came off a layoff, came off retirement pretty much, just like Caracasa did, and Moonlight as well. And yeah, he definitely had also take some time to get back into it, but he definitely came into his old self towards the end of the season and took a couple of wins. So he managed to get a decent record still. Had he not lost in week 7, which was his last match against me in a very close 1-0, he could have been even higher. And yeah, so can't wait to find out how his playoffs run is going to go. We're going to cover it in a bit. All right. Then, we got the coaches who are left out. Gailaria did not play a very good season this time. Drew, strong player, definitely, he showed that, but did not quite go his way. Caracasa, he was 0-5 or 0-4, something crazy like that. He had a terrible start to the season. Yeah, obviously, which makes sense when you come out of retirement into a Shark Tank like this one. But he came back towards the end of it, got some good wins there, and definitely wasn't last at the very least. Then we got Moonlight and Cadillacs. So Cadillacs was the replacement, took over with 0-5, so he himself went 1-2. I would say Cadillacs taking over from the start of the season, you would definitely see him make playoffs. But yeah, there was just no way. And Moonlight, another one of those guys who came on stronger towards the end of the season because he came off a layoff, but did not quite make playoffs. All right, so this was it for Typhlosion League. Then we move into playoffs really quickly. We have the round 1 already. And the big surprise right here, the very first game, Infinite, after dominating the entirety of the regular season, lost in round 1 playoffs to Zayed. And yeah, Zayed just coming on strong here. It's now in semifinals. Amazing. Honestly, not a surprise to me, but yeah, as I said, in this league, it's like all these players are of similar caliber, in my opinion. And yeah, so Zayed definitely showed that. Huge win over Infinite. To be fair, 5-0 looks a little bit more dominating and commanding than it actually was. Could have also gone either way this match, but yeah, he definitely had a really, really strong showing there, moving on and kicking the big favorite out of the tournament here, of the playoff tournament. Then we got Prof versus Tark. Honestly, insane match. Probably the closest match all season. It came down to 4 or 5% on Tapu Koko in the end. So yeah, that just goes to show that what the caliber of player that Tark is. Amazing performance there, just wasn't quite enough, but no shame in that. He will go out in quarterfinals very honorably. And Prof moves on to the semifinals deservedly after his strong season. Then we got Girahim just continuing his momentum into playoffs. 5-0, huge win over Ronensting. Wait, was this? They did play week 8 or did they not? Yes, they did play week 8 and then had this rematch straight away in playoffs. That's funny. Did not know that. All right, so yeah, after winning quite narrowly on week 8, he just slapped him in quarterfinals there. So yeah, Girahim moves on, giving us an insane semifinal. Girahim versus Prof, that's going to be huge. All right, and then I had my rematch against Mayo in quarterfinals, the last quarterfinal. And yeah, as always, it's always intense against Mayo. Fortunately, this time I came out on top, even though it was close. Celesteela coming in clutch there, as it almost did in the first match. And yeah, Celesteela definitely the MVP for me, I would say, this season so far. And yeah, Mayo, unfortunately, his run ends here. I know he was motivated to win it. He definitely put up an amazing effort, and yeah, could have gone either way this match. And yeah, had he gone through, I definitely could have seen him win this thing. So yeah, I'm gonna face Zayed in semifinals. Can't wait for this one. It's gonna be tough, I'm sure, as was the regular season match. As always, Zayed, strong opponent. Yeah, can't wait for it. All right, this was Typhlosion League. This is where we are now, waiting for the semifinals to happen this weekend. And yeah, in our Dartrix League, we had a very close playoffs race. And yeah, so I'm going to go straight into it with the first match, which was probably the most dramatic one in terms of result and implications. It was Nick against the Prince Aldo. And yeah, so Nick had a terrible season towards the start of it. And yeah, he really was, for long stretches of it, I think he was around last or second to last. So it didn't really look good for him, but he had some wins towards the end of the season and he kept active. And and then on the very last week, he matched up against the Prince Aldo, who himself was at the time the last playoff seed. And this gave us the following constellation that Nick had to win more than 1-0 against the Prince Aldo, which would have him tied or better than the Prince Aldo, and then obviously he would have won the the head-to-head against him. So yeah, and that's exactly what happened. He got the minimum result he needed, 2-0, very close match, and yeah, that means that Nick jumps Aldo in the standings. They now have the exact same record, like the same win-loss and the same differential, but Nick obviously won the head-to-head in the week 8, so yeah, we're gonna see that in the standings. That was huge for him, and that was quite sad, honestly, for the Prince Aldo. So I must say, Prince Aldo was amazing for Dartrix. So glad we got him in the league because he was a really good sport. He had some really cool matches, some really creative sets, and yeah, just wasn't quite enough for playoffs. It was looking really good, but he got snatched the playoff spot away from him at the very last week. Then we got Leighton. Leighton was in, I don't know what mode you call it. He needs a break from Pokemon, definitely, and he didn't play his last matches. So on week 8, he got a forfeit win to Gil. The same happened for Kurupt against Froggerman. So Froggerman was struggling pretty much all season. Oh, by the way, Gil, amazing. Yeah, did very well. Fine. We know he's a Typhlosion League veteran, so no surprise there. And then we got Kurupt, who also had an amazing season. I'm so happy to see it. He got like a 6-2 record now. Got lots and lots of close wins, close calls, like 1-0s, a bunch of them. And yeah, is one of the top guys in the league now with a very, very good record. Can't wait to see if he can keep it up in playoffs. And yeah, his week 8 would have been against Froggerman, who was struggling pretty much all season. As I said, it's now the last place in the league, I think. We'll check later. But yeah, I think he only got 1 win, so that was tough. Then we got SMO, who showed signs of his old self towards the middle of the season, where he got some good wins. But yeah, overall, it just didn't go his way. He had a weird team with the long snout squad, with the both Iron Treads and Great Tusk. I'm not quite sure what that was about. It was more of a joke probably, but yeah, the team was weird, and yeah, it was hard to make work. SMO is a very good player, but he didn't come out on top a lot this season. That differently was yeah, I can't talk anymore. But yeah, not the same was the case for Yasha Indigo, who did very well, moving up from Oshawott equivalent league last season to now Dartrix League, and he did very well. Unsurprisingly, he's a good player, and I think he made playoffs as well. So yeah, happy to see that for sure, with a 2-0 victory over SMO, which is not easy. Then we got the Scary Smoliv. The Scary Smoliv showed his capabilities, and honestly, I think he's a little bit low as a seed for what he can do, what he showed in terms of skill. So not quite sure what happened there, to be honest, but he had a match against Spooks, and that was pretty much a winner takes all match. I think the winner of these two guys was more or less guaranteed to make playoffs, and it was very close, but Spooks did not come out on top in that one. He was a replacement, did very well in Dartrix, so he's going to be a Dartrix League player next season if he wants to play Showdown. And yeah, can't wait to see what he's gonna do. And I just want to say once again, his use of Pseudo Voodoo as a signature in both Wi-Fi and Dartrix League was amazing to watch. And I'm happy he did this well. Then we got the match between Leonard and Jam, which was pretty much for the top spot in the league. So I think the winner was more or less guaranteed to be the #1 seed. And yeah, that was an amazing match. Very close. Jam came out on top and is now our front runner and regular season winner and #1 seed. And yeah, that's just he just played an amazing season. Had so many commanding wins, huge differential, huge record. Only loss was to Gil, which obviously can happen. And yeah, can't wait to have him back hopefully in future seasons and potentially even moving up into the top flight of our league. He's definitely more than worthy of it, I would say. Then we got Sailor V against Galactic Empire, which did not happen because Sailor V got a little bit too busy towards the end of the season. And yeah, anyway, you would probably have expected Galactic to win that anyway, in all honesty. And so that means that Galactic will move on to playoffs. He was doing fine. He was somewhere in the middle, I would say. Got some forfeit wins as well, which helped him. And yeah, means a solid regular season and a spot in the playoffs for him. Then we got Delphin Squared, our replacement, against the man of the hour, Panda of Redness, who came on so strong in the later stages of the season. He was like somewhere at the upper midfield range towards the beginning of it, but he came on so strong towards the end, which means that with this win over Delphin Squared, he is now our #2 seed of the league. So he is the runner-up in regular season, which is amazing, honestly. He even overtook Gil, who played an amazing season, but didn't have a great differential. Same goes for Leonard, and even more so for Kurupt. So all these guys have the same record. But yeah, not a huge differential, like, for example, Girahim has in Typhlosion League with 6-2. He was at like plus 19, plus 20 something, which is crazy. So nothing like that here. But yeah, obviously we have Jam on the top spot. Well deserved. Look at this differential. Crazy. 7-1. As I said, only lost to Gil. Then we got the strong contenders like Scary Smoliv and Yasha Indigo. By the way, Yasha Indigo, look at this differential. Crazy. Plus 12 with 5-3. I went 5-3 and had -2. So yeah, you can definitely tell that he had some huge wins there. And yeah, Scary Smoliv, very strong, but this is a little bit annoying for him because this means that he needs to do one extra round of playoffs. But yeah, I'm sure he's gonna live with it. Then we got Galactic Empire Spooks making playoffs as well. And then, as I said here, Nick and the Prince Aldo facing off in week 8 and now have the same differential and the same record. And yeah, Nick is moving on due to the better head-to-head result. So yeah, this was our playoff seeding. And yeah, so this means that the number 7 player of the league will play against number 10 in round 1 and number 8 against number 9. And the first 6 guys will deservedly sit out the first round of playoffs. And this is how round 1 went down. We got Smoliv Garden, the scary Smoliv, unsurprisingly, moving on against Nick. It was a close match. Nick put up a good effort. I was kind of rooting for Nick, to be honest, to make a comeback, to make after his not so great regular season, to just win it. Because Nick, honestly, Nick can win anytime, and would have been very cool to see. But yeah, scary Smoliv came out on top very closely there. Moving on to the quarterfinals, and Galactic Empire beat Spooks 2-0 in a very close match. Quite some hacks involved in that one. He got a clutch Relic song Sleep with Meloetta, which definitely helped him win the match. Would have been close either way, I think. But I just want to say that Spooks did really well in a tough matchup to keep it close and potentially even having a chance to win it at the end, depending on some sleep turns and stuff. It would have been complicated, but yeah, Spooks put up a good effort, and once again, Sudo Voodoo being a beast in that match. So if you ever want to check it out, I can only recommend it. It's on the channel and it's really entertaining. And yeah, so these are our quarterfinals. The only match that has happened is a huge surprise. Jam, once again, the first rule of playoffs. You dominate regular season, you're gonna drop out in your first playoff round. And it also caught up, the curse did, to Jam, losing 1-0 in a very close match against Galactic Empire, who's here looking to do a little bit of a Cinderella run with the like 8th or 9th seed. And yeah, now survived the first 2 rounds of playoffs, which is huge for him, and I'm happy to see it. I love these kinds of surprising runs in playoffs. Yeah, that just goes to show that once the playoffs are there, what happened in regular season really doesn't play any role anymore. It's all or nothing each game. All right. So yeah, nothing much happened other than that so far. These other guys are due to play until Sunday. And yeah, so some really cool matches like Leonard against Kurupt, I'm really looking forward to. Gil against Yasha Indigo. These 2 guys have some sort of weird trash-talking relationship that I don't quite understand where that comes from. But yeah, it's always entertaining, right? You want to see a little bit of beef there, even though it's not really real. But yeah, I can't wait to see. It's not going to be easy. It's a tough match for Gil, but obviously also a tough match for Yasha Indigo, so can't wait to see what happens. And then we got Panda of Redness against Scary Smoliv, which honestly, that's a complete 50-50 for me. Both these guys are really strong. Panda of Redness has more momentum, I would say. Panda of Redness, by the way, is also an absolute saint. Super respectful dude. Love it. And yeah, can't wait to see how this one is going to go. I have zero idea. I wouldn't want to make a prediction on that one. Could go either way. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the Dartrix League at least. And that means we are now going to move on to the Oshawott League. And Oshawott League is already in the history books, definitely, because it was by far the most balanced league we ever had and the tightest playoff race we ever had. I've mentioned this in past recaps. It was insane how the season went, and yeah, it was all decided on week 8, and pretty much for most matches it meant if you win, you make playoffs. If you lose, you might drop out. Even for a person as dominant as Seroga, had he lost to Scepter Bird on this one, I think he had a chance to still drop out of playoffs. He had to get really wiped off the battlefield there to have a chance to drop out. But definitely with a 6-0, he could have still lost his playoff match. But he did win. Unsurprisingly, he was one of the most dominant players in the regular season, and he well deservedly took his high seed playoff spot now with the win over Scepter Bird, which, yeah, definitely congrats to him. We love to see it. And Scepter Bird, yeah, he was really upset the way it went down for him. It was close. He could have made it, but yeah, it was just not quite, unfortunately, which is a shame. And then for the next match, we have Shillon against JT, I believe. Yeah, that's JT. 1-0, one of many 1-0s. So Shillon played an amazing season, but he, to be honest, lots of these games were really close, but he came out on top in most of them. And yeah, that's just an amazing season for him, and I'm happy for it. For him, because now he gets to make playoffs and hopefully edges ever closer to catching up to Gil, to finally facing off with him after trash talking him for years by now. And yeah, one day we might finally see it. If we can't, if like Gil moves up to Typhlosion again, now that Shillon is potentially moving up to Dartrix, we might make the PWC Cup happen just to see these guys finally play. But yeah, congrats to Shillon. Also congrats to JT, who we will see later also made playoffs despite his narrow loss there. His season record was good enough to still make it, and yeah, that's great for him. Then we got the match between Mr. TSG, aka Mr. Grimes, what he's called, whatever, right now against Harmony. I think that wasn't even Mr. Grimes who played that. That was still Bonger27, because Harmony made all his matches by like week 3. And yeah, Harmony won this one, won most of his matches, is our front runner, our regular season winner. So huge congrats to that. That's amazing, great achievement. And yeah, he's gonna be our #1 seed in playoffs with this win. Then we got the match between Rich's Crackers and Jactus. And yeah, Jactus had an amazing start to the season. He was so dominant early, but he definitely went into a little bit of a slump in the later stages of the season and lost his great seeding that he would have had otherwise. Partly due to this loss against Rich's Crackers, who in turn, I think, clinched playoffs with this win. We will check. I'm not even sure. It was so close, but yeah, that definitely was a huge win for him, and I'm happy for him. And then we got the the match between Wellington Ho-Oh, aka Starvin Pig, and Blind Bandits, Blind Fangs. So first of all, Blind Fangs played an amazing season. He's one of the top seeds in the league. I will check later, but something like 4 or 5 range in the standings. So yeah, that was a very good season he played. But the story of the day, obviously, Starvin Pig. He actually made his prediction come true. Had a terrible start to the season. He said before the season and during that he always needs to take some losses to figure out his team, and then comes on stronger in the later stages of the season. And he actually made it happen. So he made a huge comeback, and this big 5-0 win over Blind Bandits meant that he very narrowly still made playoffs. Which honestly, that's a great achievement after how the season went early for him. I think he was at one point like 1-4 and one of the last people in the standings. And yeah, he didn't get discouraged by that. Kept on trash talking like mad in in the chat, and yeah, made a huge comeback. And honestly, he's one of those guys, if you're that sturdy mentally, if you're like, he's a little bit of a honey badger type dude, I think. And these types of players are really, really dangerous in playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a huge run in there. And yeah, can't wait to find out. So he's like if you had to bet, he would be a good one to place your bet on, because you're gonna get a huge quota. But I think he's got a huge upset potential, I would say. Then we got the match between Bespoke Foil and Tails DK, which didn't happen because Bespoke Foil got like family visit or was not something like that. He couldn't make the time before the deadline, and unfortunately, we are pretty lenient with our deadlines, but not on week 8. Week 8 is like the only week where we are enforcing our deadline, and this was pretty much the only match which got affected by that, because yeah, he couldn't make the time on Sunday, and yeah, we weren't gonna wait and hold up playoffs for anything. So yeah, that's unfortunate, because he also, after making a good comeback into the season, had still some chances to make playoffs with a big win. But yeah, with this, Tails DK now makes it with the 3-0 forfeit win. So congrats. He also played a very good second half of the season. as I have noticed. Then we got the man of the hour in Oshawott League, which is Barney 2005, who came in as a replacement for some dude I can't even remember, and really made some waves in the late stages of the season. So he beat Jactus, now he beat Anubion, which is also very hard to do, because Anubion by himself was coming back into the season very strongly, and he could also have still clinched playoffs with a big win. I think he needed like a 5-0 or something to make it happen. And yeah, unfortunately, he did not quite get to do that. But yeah, I think he's going to come back strong next season. And Barney definitely will. So he does not make... Or did he make playoffs? I'm not even sure. We're going to look at it in a second. And then for the last match, we have Void against Howl. And Void just did amazing ever since they replaced whoever and yeah, made playoffs very convincingly with one of the better seeds, I think. And then we got Howl, who was one of the top guys in the early stages, and he's like the anti-man of the hour because he really dipped off in the second half of the season. So yeah, this didn't go so well for him, unfortunately, which gives us the following standings. And then we're going to see Howl dropping out of playoffs. Very surprising. 4-4 -3. And there you can see it. Look at this record. Like we have Mr. TSG, Mr. Grimes, who is 0-8, but that's through no fault of his own. Really, he took over the team with like 0-6, I think. So yeah, apart from that, you have like so narrow margins here. Like even Anubion had a chance to make playoffs in the very last week. Bespoke Foil took the forfeit loss, but he could have made it had he not taken that one. He even had a decent chance to make it, to be honest. And yeah, same goes for Barney, who, yeah, he had a very slim chance. He needed like a 6-0 to have a chance. But yeah, he did amazing ever since he took over. So yeah, that's a huge achievement for him. Then, as I said, Howell, with this last week loss, he needed a win to be safe in playoffs. But now he is out of it. And the same goes for Scepterbird. Like one differential point is missing to both Starving Pig and Rich Crackers. And yeah, that's just yeah, huge for both Rich Crackers and Starving Pig, who clinched the playoffs in the very last week, which is great to see. Then we got JT, one differential point ahead, Tails DK and Jactus, 2 differential points ahead. So crazy. Like these guys are 6th and 7th seed and are like 3 differential points ahead of being knocked out, which is crazy. Yeah. Then we got going into the positive win-loss differential range, which is only the top 5. Blind Bandits, Shillon, Void, and Zeroga with 5-3. And the King of the Hill, Harmony, with 6-2 plus 14, which is not normally a winning differential. I think in Dartrix League, this is like tied with the 5th place or something. And in Typhlosion League, this would have been like 4th seed. But yeah, with this one being so highly contested, he is our regular season winner. So congrats to that for that. That's amazing. And yeah, this gives us the following constellation for round 1. I think we had to tie break between these 2 guys, Jactus and Tails DK, because they have the same differential, same win-loss, and they did not play each other in the regular season. So that means that we combined here, we accumulated the record of all opponents these guys had, and whoever had the stronger opponents according to their record would be ahead. And that means that Tails DK, who had the slightly stronger opponents, was ahead of Jactus. So that means that Jactus has to do an extra round of playoffs, unfortunately. Means that he will have to face off with the Starving Pig here, because Starving Pig also tied with Rich Crackers, but he lost the head-to-head against Rich Crackers. So yeah, that means that we had Starving Pig against Jactus and Rich Crackers against JT, which was our round 1 players, which already happened. And as you can see, we had another upset win by Starvin Pig. I don't know if you even can call it an upset. It's also evenly matched in this league, but yeah, he was the lower seed at least. And yeah, as I said, I have him on my list for potentially making a huge playoffs run. And unfortunately, Jack, just after playing such a great season, only quote unquote makes it to the playoff round 1. No shame still, but and doesn't change that he played an amazing season for most of it, but he definitely fell off a little bit towards the end, which is a shame. And then we got JT getting the better of Rich's Crackers, moving on to the quarterfinals, where he will now get to face Harmony, which is going to be interesting. So Harmony has been absent for so long that, yeah, I'm interested to see if he can get straight back into it, or if he's going to be a little bit rusty and just make the 3 out of 3 playoff curse real, because yeah, as we have seen, both regular season winners in Typhlosion League and Dartrix League are already out of playoffs in their respective round 1. And yeah, so Harmony will try to break the curse here against JT, but it's not going to be easy. And then we got Starvin Pig against Siroga, which in regular season was a complete clapping by Siroga, inflicted on Starvin Pig. Was a 6-0. It was like an insane match where everything went Siroga's way. Every play, he got every play right. He just completely destroyed Starvin Pig. But let me tell you guys, the way this match went, everything went Siroga's way. This is not as clear cut as both Siroga and Starvin Pig make you believe. Yeah, Starvin Pig is obviously is having his usual shtick about Siroga topping him, which obviously that's a possibility, but I'm very sure that this is going to be much closer than the regular season, which was either way, and it could go either way, in my opinion. Can't wait for this one. Actually, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most, and I want to get it for the channel. And then we got Void against Tails Decay, another complete 50-50 in my opinion. And yeah, I have nothing to say on this. I have no idea who's going to win this. But I have an idea who's going to win the last one, because it already happened. It was Shillon against Blind Fangs. And yeah, Shillon just another 1-0 victory. Moves on to the semifinals, one step closer to getting a hold of Gil. Maybe potentially if Gil doesn't disappear towards Typhlosion League, which we will see. But yeah, congrats to Shillon. Really happy to see it. Shillon, our server legend, our server OG, been around since season 2, one of the most senior members we have in PWC, who's still around. And yeah, I'm so happy to see guys like this do well. And Shillon is doing just that. All right, so congrats. And yeah, tough for Blind Fangs. He played such an amazing season. Had some of the great sweeps in the league with his Mimikyu, and just was a delight to have around, to be honest. So great newcomer. And yeah, maybe he can go even farther in next season. We will see. And yeah, this concludes our Oshawott League. In our Wi-Fi League in week 7, I'm going to start with the Diamond Clan, where we had pretty much most of the playoff race decided. Adam, the McChesney Park Slowpokes, Absolute and the Seattle Dragonaires, and Brett and the Vancouver Hatanas were all clinched for playoffs before week 7 happened. But the Sudowoodoos and the Carolina Taurus Heels, with coached by Shadow Galate, and the Sudowoodoos coached by Spooks, they had a fight for the last playoff spot, because they were like tied pretty much before the last match. So the winner was going to move on to playoffs. And yeah, it wasn't exactly close. So Shadow Galate completely dominated this match, commandingly took the playoff spot off Spooks. But nonetheless, Spooks had an amazing season. It was just great in this tough league with this tough competition, or so we thought. He did amazing with Sudowoodo as a signature. And yeah, that's great. Another great win was Scary, who beat Brett, which is never easy. And yeah, also Scary had a solid season. She didn't have the greatest start to it, but she came on stronger towards the end. So yeah, that was great to see. And then we got DTN against Dashing Sceptile. which Dashing won 3-0. Dashing also didn't have a great season, but did fine, I think, well enough. Not just quite enough for playoffs. Gotta look at the standings. And yeah, DTN, yeah, that was not it this season. He went like 0-7, I think. But I wanna say, first of all, DTN still our Threads Division champion. That will never change. So congrats retroactively still for that, which is great. And he's also one of the absolute OGs. So thankful to have him around still in the league. Always great, always entertaining. And I want to say huge respect for playing out the season, because that's really rare to have people who have this type of character who still stay around, do their matches, can still have fun, and still have this like sense of honor that they're not just gonna quit once things don't go their way. So yeah, I just want to say huge respect for that. DTN, always great to have around. Hopefully we can still have him around for seasons to come, which would be great. He is one of the founding members of the league. All right, and this gives us the following regular season standings. Absolute is our regular season winner. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil that, but yeah. Runner-up is Brett with a very good season, 5-2 plus 13. His only losses were to Absolute on week 1 and then on week 7 to Scary. He was on a 5-match win streak in between that. Then we got Adam with an amazing regular season, 5-2. Only, quote-unquote, only +5 record, but yeah, still this win-loss record speaks volumes. So yeah, that was why he was clinched for playoffs before week 7. And then, yeah, this is what I mentioned. Both Carolina Heels and Sudowoodos were at 3-3 before week 7. So yeah, that is why Shadow Galate now moves on to the playoff spot. And yeah, Scary, very solid season. She was at 2-4 before the last week, now at 3-4. And Dashing Septiles didn't do so great, 2-5 record. And yeah, the second to last seed. Whereas DTN, as I said, huge respect. He didn't get clapped, so an average loss of 3-0. But yeah, still didn't manage to get a single win, unfortunately. But it happens. Like he didn't vibe with his team, which is very important, especially for DTN. He's like this type of hot and cold player who either completely has a vibe going and is feeding his team, and that just didn't happen for him this season. Right, moving on to the Pearl Clan. Before we get to move on to playoffs, which is funny. We have the match between Master Joful and Eli. So Master Joful got a huge win there on week 7, which was important for him to make playoffs, because Eli was one of the dominant players in the league, at least very early in the season. And yeah, so that means that Master Joful is going to make playoffs in this one. Congrats to him for that. That's huge. Even more congrats I want to give to Firemaster, who will be our regular season winner after playing an absolutely amazing regular season. We're going to go over that in the standings. He beat Final Gambit Shedinja on week 7 with another convincing 3-0 win. Check it out on his YouTube channel. It's worth it. By the way, it's always worth it to watch Firemaster content because he's amazing. And yeah, Final Gambit Shedinja was strong towards the later stages of the season. Didn't have a good start. Had to get into it a little bit, but he definitely did that and had some good wins towards the end. Just not quite enough to make playoffs. Then we got Moonabloom, who I believe got a forfeit win over Hynex, but honestly, potato, this would have been a win anyway. Had they played, it probably potentially might have been even higher, I think. And then we got Biraru, our replacement coach, getting the win over Graf Pain. Not quite sure if this was a forfeit win or if it happened, but regardless, Biraru did well. Cool new addition, to be honest. Amazing logo, amazing friendly personality, and seems to be an interesting coach as well. So yeah, can't wait to hopefully have him back in future seasons. And this gives us the following standings for Pearl Clan. As I said, Firemaster, our regular season winner, amazing differential, amazing record, 6-1, so dominant, so great. His only loss was on week 1 to, I believe, Moonabloom, which was a huge loss as well, like 5-0, something like that. But yeah, after that he went on a 6-match win streak and some huge wins along the way. So yeah, that was just amazing to see. Well-deserved winner. Another amazing season was played by Moonabloom. Even though he beat Firemaster, he did not manage to finish ahead of him because he took one loss, I think, to Eli. It just doesn't have the same differential as Firemaster has. So yeah, that's why he will be our number 2 of the regular season. Then we got Eli on the 3rd seed. Also did very well. But look at this, +3 record with 5 and 2. That's crazy. So he had some big losses. He got 6-0'd by Firemaster one week and had some narrow wins. So that's why his differential isn't so great. And yeah, as I said, the last seed will be Master Jofel, who with his win clinched playoffs on week 8 there. Had he lost to Eli, this would have been very close, because then they Final Gambit Stincher and Master Jofel would have had the same win-loss record, and then it would have came down to the differential, which would have been interesting. But yeah, with that, let's look at the playoff round 1, because as you know, or you might not know, Pearl Clan and Diamond Clan will now cross in playoffs. So the first seed of Pearl Clan will play the 4th seed of Diamond Clan, and so on. So yeah, they are gonna now fight each other, which is interesting. And yeah, so so first of all, that was quite funny, because before the season, we actually thought we were gonna do a little bit, like it's not black and white, but a little bit of a skill divide. Like Pearl Clan would have been the quite a little bit lower skilled division, quote unquote, and Diamond Clan should be the higher division. But how clueless we actually are was shown by the results of the round 1 playoffs, where Pearl and Diamond Clan crossed paths, and Diamond Clan did not get a single win. It's insane. So the first match, I'm gonna go over that last, Absolute versus Master Jofel. But the second one, we got Playoff Bread. So Playoff Bread, honestly, seems to be a thing of the past. It was a real thing, definitely, but I don't think Brett is hungry enough anymore to really push his limits in playoffs. He got some league wins, or many league wins, back in the day, and now he's a little bit satisfied. He doesn't really elevate his game for playoffs anymore like he used to in the past. And he lost to Eli, so congrats to Eli, a huge win. Like, Brett doesn't really need to raise his level anymore. He's just a solid, great player all around. So that's always a tough win, whether you face him in playoffs or regular season, doesn't really matter. And yeah, just huge congrats. The same goes for Firemaster. He beat Shadow Galade, who is an amazing coach. And that's honestly, Firemaster made huge leaps as a coach. He's so strong now. Winning the regular season and now even beating Shadow Galade, who's one of the strongest coaches in PWC overall. And yeah, I just want to congratulate him for moving on to the semifinals and yeah, getting the second win for Pearl Clan over Diamond Clan. And the third win for Pearl Clan, who completely shut out the Diamond Clan, was taken by Moonabloom over Adam and the McChesney Park Slowpokes. Yeah, that's honestly, Moonabloom is not really. Moonabloom is a Typhlosion League level coach, let's be honest. He's really strong. We moved him down because his last Typhlosion League season, or as it was called back then, Tusk Division, just didn't go so well for him. And so, yeah, that's why we moved him down. But he definitely showed why he was up there in Typhlosion League and why he actually belongs there. And he beat Adam convincingly 3-0. Great win, moving on to the semifinals. And then, as I said, we had Absolute versus Master Jofel. And Master Jofel played absolutely amazing. He played so well against the number 1 seed of Diamond Clan. And he actually beat him 3-0. Congrats for that. But unfortunately, Master Jofel brought Sheer Force on his Landorus, which obviously is not allowed. Landorus is banned. The Sheer Frost ability is banned on it. He completely missed that, and yeah, that means that the result unfortunately had to be voided. A rematch in these kinds of circumstances is always tough because obviously now they know each other's teams, and it's just not the same. And so yeah, we didn't really have a choice. The Landorus definitely, it wasn't decisive. It's arguable that Masachova would have still won without Sheer Frost Lando, but there is some doubt about it. It could have gone, it definitely could have made a difference. So yeah, that really left us no choice. We had to enforce the rules here, unfortunately. It was really unfortunate. There was no rematch possible, and that's why Absolute moved on with the disqualification win here. So even though Diamond Clan didn't win a single match in quarterfinals, they still have one representative in semifinals, or at least they did, because Absolute got dealt with by Moonabloom. So yeah, that means that Per Clan is now 5-0 over the Diamond Clan in terms of match results, at least. And yeah, so much for the weaker division, right? So yeah, that's just really funny to me, at least. And yeah, congrats to Moonabloom, who is our first finalist of Season 8 of the PWC in Wi-Fi, in our inaugural Wi-Fi season. Moonabloom is the first finalist, very well deserved. We still got the match between Firemaster and Eli, which is going to be interesting for the second finalist. And yeah, that's going to be great grand final, I'm sure of it. And yeah, good luck to both guys still competing in semifinals. And this concludes our Wi-Fi League coverage. I hope you enjoyed it. I will still announce the Mon and match of the week for week 8. But other than that, it should be good for now. The match of the week for this week was an absolute no-brainer because it was the match for the #1 seed in playoffs in Dartrix League. It was between Leonard and Jam, and this match was absolutely amazing. We're gonna go straight into it. I'm gonna do this, put this fast as always. We do see some hazards and what the hell? We also saw a Terra Norm. No, that was just a Libero. I always get confused between Terra and Libero. All right. Anyway, yeah, this match. It was quite long and it was fiercely contested. Lots of court change stuff going on there as well. But yeah, there wasn't really a clear front runner throughout it. They really dealt blows to each other. So it looks here like Jam slowly getting whittled. His first of all, he takes a kill here, and his Neuvern is not heavy duty boots, so that's going to be hugely annoying with these rocks being around. And we got one of the stars of the season, which has been Leonard's Sharpedo for sure, which has been doing amazing pretty much all season. Also putting in work here, giving Leonard a slight lead here early in the match. Or early, this is still already turn 38. But yeah, this little monster right here, Jam's Terra Captain, who's also been one of the mons of the season, also being huge in this match. And yeah, as you can see, Leonard says 0% burn rate in the chat because I didn't get a burn for quite a while. But yeah, it comes down to this Avalac pretty much down to 2 recovers only, which is going to be hugely annoying. But yeah, with these 2 recovers, it's going to be enough because the Gastrodon is poisoned. And even though this is very close, the Avalac will be able, without any recovers left, to stall out and kill this Gastrodon. So it was insanely close. And just such a worthy match for the match of the week and for the #1 seed as well. Congrats to Jam for getting another win and rounding off his amazing season. This Avalac has been amazing for him all season. Could also have been Mon of the Week, to be honest, but I have decided to make another Mon of the Week, and that's what we're gonna go into right now. And yeah, I just want to say at the end of it, congrats to both Jam and Leonard for the amazing season they played. And yeah, for this great match as well. It was a long one, but it was a close one, and it was worthy of the match of the week for week 8. And then for the Mon of the Week, to be honest, it's not really just about this performance. It's more or less a little bit of a award I will give for the entirety of the season for the ugliest Pokemon alive, which is Mayo's Arctozolt. Specifically Mayo's Arctozolt. Like other Arctozolts I've seen pretty ones. Mayo, I'm not so sure about this one. It's a little bit it's a little bit below average looking in my opinion, but yeah, I'm not one to judge, honestly. So this match is really painful to watch in the beginning, to be honest, because not really much is happening. For some reason, Tark is like sludge bombing into a Gligar for no reason for like half an hour, allowing Mayo to put up stealth rocks and defogging away his toxic spikes. So not really much is happening here. In the early stages, then we got the Dunsparce, which has been so great for Tark, trying another fancy setup set here, but unfortunately gets toxic. Still manages to annoy him a little bit, paralyzing the Gligar. So Tark gets an early lead here, and this is where Arctozolt comes out for the first time. So Tark is in the lead, but yeah, are you really in the lead when the opponent has a freaking Arctozolt and you don't even have a ground type with you? What's the matter with that? And yeah, seeing this Arctozolt right here with the Terra fighting, meaning that it can't really get hurt that badly by a surprise EQ here. But obviously a Body Slam, if this would like Terra ground now and Body Slam the Arctozolt, that would have been annoying, but that's not quite what happens here because this is Terra Electric Dunsparce. But yeah, Arctozolt claiming its first kill. Gligar once again defunking away for the last time these sticky webs, but in comes Arctozolt again, getting another kill. In again, still another kill, and then it gets a low kick for good measure on the Iron Thorns as well. So it got 3 kills and killed about 85% of an Iron Thorns on top of that. So yeah, more than half the team fell prey to this super ugly bird once again. And that's been pretty much the entirety of the season. Arctozolt is the cross-league kill leader across all the divisions. Oh, by the way, he also had the super funny Grafai set, which used Swagger in 2023 with Mirror Herb. So it boosts the opponent and itself at the same time, so that was funny. But yeah, it did a little bit because the Hooper hurt itself in confusion, but wasn't really decisive, but it was funny. Anyway, so yeah, the Arctozolt has been amazing all season. Mayo made such great use of it. It got like almost 20 kills. It has just been a huge juggernaut, and with this great performance, helping to turn the game around for Mayo in this one as well, getting 3 kills plus even more damage on the Iron Thorns. I think it's a worthy Mon of the Week for week 8. So yeah, congrats, Arctozolt. Maybe if there was a prize associated with these kinds of awards, I would definitely recommend maybe getting some beak surgery or maybe some feather transplants. But yeah, I think looks are not everything, and Arctozolt definitely has some great inner values. And yeah, I hope it can make use of that beak for years to come. Congrats to Mayo and to Arctozolt for the Mon of the Week for week 8. It's been great to watch him use it. And that concludes the recaps for this season. So we're going to have some little prize video with some awards still, but yeah, this has been fun to do. Honestly, it's been a lot of work, and honestly, I can't really do these all the time, as you guys have noticed, but it's been fun. It's been a great season. Thank you guys for playing, those of you who are out, and good luck to those who are still in, trying to win their respective leagues. And yeah, we will see each other in another video, I'm sure, but no recap anymore for this season. Bye, guys.